challenges, that is worth remarking upon. And to give up those values of family, of coziness, of domesticity, what every American wants, it doesn't matter what age or what ethnicity or what denomination, that would be a terrible mistake for our party. Let our party remain the party of family. Let it remain the party that supports faith, because you know what? Even if you ask those 15% of Americans, and it's about 15%, who are not members of churches, like Lincoln wasn't, who are not members of synagogues, the majority of that 15% recognize the armies of compassion, recognize that it is because of religious faith that this nation was once described by a very great Jewish rabbi, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was very, very famous and influential. He called the United States in Hebrew, Malchus Shel Chesed. And for those of you whose Hebrew is a little bit rusty, and it's possible, that means the kingdom of loving kindness. That is the nature of our country. We can become again the kingdom of loving kindness, the empire of loving kindness, if you will. We are kind and generous to the whole world. We are kind and generous to newcomers, to our own people. We are a warm, loving people. You see that nowhere better than in Juneau, Alaska. I was walking around the state capitol. Last time I was here, which was some years ago, I was stunned by how unpretentious your Capitol building is. It looks like, I don't know, I'm from Philadelphia originally. It looks like a junior high school building in Philadelphia. And it's normal. Listen, if you build palaces to God out of your love to Him and your kindness to your fellow Americans, you don't need to build palaces to government. You don't need to build churches and cathedrals to governmental power. Not a good idea. I congratulate you on an unassuming... Am I stepping on anyone's toes? Anyone here propose a new Capitol building? You'll notice I'm not saying anything about the road. I'm not saying anything about the road. I know enough to stay off that path. But truly, so much of what is best about America is the willingness to confront lies. Lies about Lincoln, lies about our country. To lie about our country, to say that the two-party system is broken. The two-party system is vital, and as vital as you want to make it, but it only remains vital if you stay involved. It is a lie about America to say that big business is a blight on the country and that the only way to deal with economic downturns is government spending. It's never worked. It certainly didn't work for Franklin Roosevelt. We get out of downturns and recessions. The question is, when we get out of this recession, will we be burdened by the kind of crushing economic debt that makes it impossible to deal with the retirement of baby boomers? That baby boomer retirement is supposed to cost, are you ready, $70 trillion in unfunded mandates. And so what are we supposed to do about that? We have to be honest with people and come back to those bourgeois values, those good middle-class values that my immigrant grandmother taught me, which is the one surest path to unhappiness is spending more than you take in. That is a Republican principle, and it was one that Abraham Lincoln would have understood. And finally, when it comes to faith, no, this nation was not set up as a secular nation. It was not set up by people who hated religion or hated God. It was set up by people who may have been unconventional in their religious ideas. Certainly Thomas Jefferson was, but he knew that religion was good for the country, which is why Thomas Jefferson, when he was elected president, attended Christian services every single week in the Capitol building in the United States. Church services. They took communion there. Can you imagine if they tried that today? The American Criminal Liars Union would be on them like white on rice. It would be unbelievable. But their hero, Thomas Jefferson, went to those services and supported them, and they continued till shortly before Lincoln arrived in the Capitol. All of this is so important. We have a lot of challenges ahead. But we have the right ideas and the right values. Conservative values, values of faith, of family, of freedom, work. They make for a happier country, and you know what? I'm going to leave you with this. They make for happier people. They really do. Part of being a liberal, and I can tell you because that's the way I was raised, part of being a liberal is you always believe in vintage wine. That's W-H-I-N-E. It's always the worst economic crisis. It's always the worst foreign policy crisis. Things are always terrible because unless they're terrible, unless people are helpless, unless they're always victims, then you can't justify your huge new spending for massive new government programs. We believe in the people. We trust the people. We have some hard times in America right now. If we can turn loose the entrepreneurial energies of the people of the United States, listen to some of the constructive ideas that some of our Republican leaders in the Congress, and I'm proud of them, have actually introduced as an alternative to simply trying to spend your way out of depression, which has never worked. If we can re-energize the creative endeavors of this country, then we will deserve to lead again. We have the leaders, we have the ideas, we have the commitment, we have the history. We need the confidence, we need the truth to answer lies, to try to speak the truth, to know the truth, and above all, to live the truth for the sake of nourishing, sustaining, and defending this greatest nation on God's green earth. Thank you very much for your support for the GOP.
Broadcast of the